Hi guys, good morning. It's Tuesday. So I thought that we would keep continuing on and work on the dove and the ant. So if I can get you guys to turn to page 14 and 15. And we're going to finish going over this sight evidence, how to find sight evidence in a text that you have read. Okay? Then we're going to go over the vocabulary words that you were supposed to write down yesterday for me, okay? So here we go. Let's look at A and see what it asks us. Are you ready? Ask yourself if the setting has changed. Underline words in paragraph 11 that show that one part of the setting of the season has changed. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. I want you to go to paragraph 11 and see if you can find if the season has changed. Remember yesterday, the season started in spring and it had gone through summer. So what season, if it has changed, is it? And I'd like for you to underline that for me, okay? Are you ready? It is going to be the very first part of the first sentence, by the fall. So we're in autumn now. So that means the leaves are changing. And you know what we read? We were talking about that means the hunters were coming. So hunting happens in the fall. So it says by the fall, hunters started coming into the woods. So underline by the fall. You got it? Awesome. Now let's look at B. It says on page 15, circle two sentences where the ant boldly helps the dove. Think of a time when you took action to help a friend. So I want you to go ahead and look on page 15, and I would love for you to circle two sentences that shows where the ant boldly helps the dove. And I'm going to give you a few seconds. You can also, this is a great time to pause the video. Okay, so press pause. Go do your work. Then press pause. And we're back. All right, so that means you've pressed play and we're starting again. So if you look at paragraph 16, it is going to be the very first sentence that you should have circled. The ant scrambled onto the man's hand. So that's the first bold and brave thing that this teeny tiny ant did, was to climb on this man's hand. He's ginormous. She's teeny tiny, right? That's a very brave thing to do. And then 17, it says the ant bit the man hard on his hand, hard on the hand. So that's another bold and brave move that our ant little friend made, because if we notice, the man yelled and then slapped his hand. She could have gotten hurt, right? Or even worse. So the ant bit the man hard on the hand. So, and her also scrambling onto the man's hand was a very bold and daring and brave thing for the ant to do. So those were the two sentences that you should have circled. So now that we've read the story and we've cited the text, a fable usually has a moral to the story. So I was wondering if you've come up with maybe one, or take a few moments to think of one. The moral of the story is little friends may prove to be great friends, right? You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be huge and big. You can be just a little friend, but you can do great things. You can be a great friend and still be little. Because the dove, right, was so much bigger, and it could fly and swoop, and it dropped a branch, and then the little ant noticed in the fall that the dove was going to get caught by the hunter. And this teeny tiny little ant bravely crawled up onto this big, huge man's hand and then bit him just so the dove could get away. So little friends can be great friends. All right? Now, let's go over. Sorry, I'm moving my leg and I'm moving the video. Are you ready? Okay. So here we go. Let's go over the words you need to know in the story. The first word, if you turn back to 12, or if you pull out your vocab words for me. So if you have a composition book for English, for your English language arts, now's a great time. I hope you were writing them in there, and I don't think I sat there and I told you yesterday, so that is my bad. So if you wrote it on a plain sheet of paper, it's perfectly fine. If you have a composition book for English, for your English language arts, that's even better, and you can put your vocab words in there for me, okay? All right, so the first word was condition. If you go down to paragraph 4, it says, the dove pitied the ant's condition, and she wanted to help. Condition is a noun, and it means the state of being or a situation that someone or something is in. So the ant was definitely in a condition, and it wasn't a very good one because, right, she was in the water and she was not doing very well. The second word that you needed to know is swooped. Swooped. It means to move suddenly in a sweeping motion, right? So the dove just didn't drop down. She swooped. In other words, she was going like that, okay? So it's a sweeping motion. So she swooped down, okay? And it's a verb. The other word on this page is hatchling. Hatchling is a noun, and it's for a bird, fish, or reptile that is just hatched. It's a baby. It's a hatchling, okay? Turn to page 14, and there were 3 other words. You had bait, commotion, and stealthy. Commotion is a noun, and it means great activity, and it's usually very noisy, right? It's a big commotion going on. Okay, it's not where it's really quiet. It's where it's really loud, and a whole bunch of things is going on. That's a commotion. Stealthy. Stealthy is an adjective. This is where it's quiet and secret. Kind of like when you play hide and seek and you try to sneak up on somebody. You're trying to be stealthy, okay? You're not making a lot of noise. You're not stomping through the woods, okay? You're trying to tiptoe and not make any noise. The last one is bait, and it's a noun. This is food that is put into a trap to attract or catch animals. And hunters use this. Even fishermen, when you put worms on the end of a hook and you throw it in the lake and you start reeling it in, you put bait on the line to catch a fish. They do the same thing with hunters. Hunters can put out food that they know that certain animals like so they can try to catch them. And that's what bait is. Okay, let's look at our lessons. Let's go over your homework. Oh, that's right. You'll turn the homework in to me and I'll go over it then. But I tell you what, we'll go ahead and do it so I can make sure that you're doing it right. So why don't we go ahead and go over the homework so I'll make sure and you feel comfortable and happy about it, okay? All right. Let me turn back to my page. And I told you to answer the comprehension questions on page 13. So the first one was, why does the ant think she is in big trouble? Why does the ant think she's in big trouble? The reason is that the ant thinks that she is lost because the current has carried her far away from shore and she has nothing to grab on. Remember where we say she weakly splashed the water, right, before the dove dropped the branch in for her to climb on top of? So that is why the ant thinks she's in trouble, because the current has swept her away from shore, and no matter how much she swam, she couldn't get to shore, and she was starting to sink beneath the water. Number 2, what in the text says that the ant feels grateful? So that's where we talk about citing, correct? One of the things that we know is that the ant said, I have to thank the dove. That lets you know right then and there that the ant was very thankful to the dove. Because when you thank somebody, you are appreciative of what they have done for you or to you, or that they've helped you. something that they've done is very nice and kind, and you would sit there and say, oh, I need to thank them. That's because someone has done something kind for you. And that's how we know that the ant appreciates what the dove has done. Now let's turn to page 15. Let's look at number 1. What is the young man in the story trying to do? Is it A, B, C, or D? It's going to be D. I hope you circled the letter D. Trap the dove, using food as bait. That's what the young man was doing in the story. I hope you circled the letter D. Number 2. Why is the ant so excited at the end of the fable? Why was the ant excited? You need to read all of them, A, B, C, and D. And you need to have circled B. B is the correct answer because she was able to save the dove from danger. The dove was looking at that bait and was getting awfully close to that net. And the ant was able to climb up, bite the young man's hand. He made a loud commotion, slapped his hand, he yelled, and the dove, startled, flew away because of the loud, sudden noise. Now what I would like for you to do to end today's lesson is look down at number 3. It says, a moral tells the reader an important message of a fable. Think of questions you might ask and answer to prove that the moral given is correct. Use details from the story in your answer. So remember what we said, and if you look at 18, it says the moral of the story is little friends may prove to be great friends. So you need to take this time, reread the story, because we always need to practice reading, okay? And then I want you to think about the moral that the story is about. Little friends proving to be great friends. And I would like for you to find the information from the story that proves that moral, okay? Just needs to be a couple of sentences, okay? Not very many. And then I can't wait to see what you're going to have to turn in, okay? All right, guys. I'll see you later.